What? 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 Greetings, greetings, blessings, blessings, and welcome, 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 welcome. You are tuned in to Context Matters. The date is the 23rd of October, and it's almost like we are all here sitting and waiting and watching. If you are joining from Reggae Global Radio, welcome, welcome. And if you are joining from YouTube, you know how it go already. Big up yourself. And if you're on the TikTok, you know what to do. Tap up the screen, send the hearts, share the live. Yeah, tap, 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 tap. Yeah, me with my 86 subjects and my career, me need for tell you to tap up the screen and give me roses. Me over here big. Anyway, so want to talk today about preparation versus optimism. I think it's a fitting what do I call this now, topic to have discussions about. We Jamaica, I was having conversations today whilst in court, and I will say Jamaica have a history of always being, excitable about storms and hurricanes, because before Gilbert, let me tell you something. People used to say, it now come, and then while Gilbert show up, and it was a whole different experience what took place with Gilbert. And since then, I mean, last year, or was it the year before that? Sometimes we can't even know. We always remember Gilbert, we always remember Ivan, and then there's this whole thing about should we be worried or should we be talking about when was burial? What was burial? What was a burial? And people would say that in relation to all of that versus what people experience in Gilbert. But what you know about Delco? What you know about Nana Ice for 3 months? What you know about Nana Light for 3 months? What you know about your neighbor being with the piece of ice? Anyway, what you know about who no see me dish, who no see me satellite dish? And the irony is, every time there's going to be an impending storm, you have to go take up your Starlink dish because you don't want it blow away. Because if Gilbert could have blown away the big round one, imagine what it would do with the thing. So yeah, that's thing. But several things to talk about. Also, especially my new role as Member of Parliament has opened my eyes to a lot of things in terms of governance, in terms of expectations, in terms of just the reality that is our country, how our people live, how we survive, what is the expectations, what are the things to be done. And now in Portland Eastern, where I'm the Member of Parliament, we are preparing for the storm Melissa. Melissa, ironically, is coming my way, as in our way here in Portland. And the reality is there are drains that need to be cleaned, and just to ensure that the flow of water, it's a storm. So what's expected is flooding where necessary. So we need to ensure that the drains are clean. So that is taking place now in Portland Eastern, and in contact with the National Works Agency, the relevant minister, and as it relates to the preparation, I think that is prevention is better than cure, but you can't prevent a storm. So it is proper preparation prevents. Here's somebody talk about begging a generator. One thing we love about the beggings, on TikTok and these places. When the chest high. But that being said, I just think we need to understand what we're up against. and it is mostly the protection of life. And while it is that we pray that properties remain intact and all of that, it is the life and the well-being of the people that is most important. So I'm in contact with the relevant agencies, aware of the shelters in terms of which one will be open, where to go. My team is ensuring that the messages are being communicated. And I mean, I'm here on Context Matters pre hurricane. As you can see, you look to the courts in any country and how the court treats in terms of the seriousness of anything. Justice Sykes would have put out his notice that the court would close today at 12 to give people time to go to the supermarket. In that vein, I must say that right now, as I'm speaking here, before they come on my platform and start to cuss me and say, you know, make I start my show. Make I start my show. Make I start my show. Cause me know.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it right. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it right. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Yeah, so if you're just joining me, welcome again. Let me just tell you this right now. Man, I'm gonna make nobody come on this live and tell me about my gray hair. They are mine. I want no comments about my gray hair. See, gray right through. I'm not a gray right through. So it got. It's that time. But anyway, look, they're laughing. Boy, not something else. But yeah, want to say that you know, at times like these is the albeit that you would want to be able to take care of every single person. We must always remember our vulnerable communities. So our shut-ins, again, I'm asking that persons make contact with the office so we can know who is out there, who is not able to be accessible. Some persons are in volatile spaces. The persons I know, I've reached out to my team to go directly to them. I'm constrained to say that in matters like these, I think people must appreciate care packages have to go out. Not everybody can afford to go to the supermarket. But as an opposition MP, I can't afford to just free for all. Always shout out to the diaspora because they've always ensured that the barrels do come and things remain there where we can put some stuff together. We are talking about hurricane and people are asking me to have cheap land we can sell. Wasn't there somebody that going on that said that their name and land, you know, they put their name before the land? Them on the fair ask that. Anyway, there's no such thing as cheap land. Certainly not in Portland. Anyway, so just taking this opportunity because they're gonna say they don't see me out there pontificating and acting like, you know, trying to pander to the public. But we are doing our best to ensure that care packages are put out to the elderly and to the least among us, as well as getting the depends out and the just the sanitary stuff for our elderly. Persons who are indigent, we'll see our best. So the care packages will be distributed through your divisional leaders and councillors respectively. And for the persons I know, I've given directives to ensure that that is done. But I'm praying for all of Jamaica, not just Portland Eastern. And when matters like these arise, just kind of suspend the political lines and understand that governance means that both opposition and the government of the day has to work together to make sure that life is restored back to normal as fast as possible. And whatever allocations of funds that I get and I'm able to distribute, you can count on me. It's gonna spend where it's supposed to spend. So that's my take on that. But safety first. Don't go out and try to play Superman. You play hero, you draw zero. And don't take flood waters lightly, especially my people here in Portland, Eastern. Please do not bother going like you want to take on the Rio Grande and save Fido and Bruno or anyone of Damien Goat them that never returned when he departed and now in St. Catherine. And again, I'm a praying man. I will say that we keep our optimism on the side of God, and we work towards that. You know how we now try to give joke, people are dead with laugh. Boy, when they do me bad, you must stop it. So let me tell you, the next thing that I really need to talk about right now is a lot of things are going on in this country. So if you wonder why God's sending a little washout, you will appreciate. Let me put some context behind this. I'm the opposition spokesperson for youth and human rights. And let me try to choose my words because I can't understand for the love of me. You see the videos. I wouldn't even play any of the videos now because it's quite disturbing, to be honest. And I'm just trying to process to see whether, if at all, I would be playing them in this space. What I will say though, evening to you, Marcia, what I will say is there is an attack on the youth of this country. Make no mistake, when it's not murder and violence, heavy sexual violence on the youth of this country, male and female. When you read news reports that father sexually molests or rapes daughter and then discards her like an animal, you know where we are. When there are school fights that end in stabbings and murder, you know we have a problem. When there are mass shootings, a new phenomenon in Jamaica, and young toddlers and babies and teenagers, adolescents die, you know that we are facing a serious issue. If we are not in the position as the generation before to protect the next generation, Jamaica is going to be doomed. So we can't brag about progress and prosperity and development when savagery is the order of the day. And I'm speaking on it because, last year when I entered into the political arena, before that I abandoned out government. But again, having survived COVID, and we went into a big educational deficiency, again an attack on our youth, because we would have thought by now that, whether the relevant ministry is science and technology, that when we hear rain is falling, schools can put out announcements that classes moved immediately online. In other words, a principal says, don't send your child to school this morning. Keep our future safe and dry, and turn on your tablets and your laptops and your smartphone, and we're keeping class online, and still there isn't a national program where when we have these emergencies, there is no system in place where the curriculum, which is supposed to be the same across the board, we don't have a system where you turn on the classrooms and you can just go online. A student can go online and math class is being taught because the educational timetable isn't streamlined nationally to make sense in a country that the brightest of the bright come from. However, I'm happy to say that certainly for me, with my greatest of effort and attempt with the diaspora and local persons and just anybody who love education. So Big Head says, Isa, do what you have to do. Less talking, talk is cheap. It comes on my program where it is a talk show to tell me less talking, talk is cheap. I'm telling you, this is why I'm talking about education, because for some strange reasons, you just have some people who, why do they even show up on a platform when I'm explaining exactly what I have to do to tell me less talking, as if I'm not an attorney and get paid to talk? As if I'm not on a show where I get paid to talk. I'm confusing. I don't understand how I'm the host of a show called Context Matters every Thursday between 4 and 6 in Jamaica, and I just want to understand, and it's aired on Reggae Global Radio and TV and TikTok and YouTube, and then they come on my platform tell me I talk too much and I should do less talking. So I need to understand if I'm speaking a different language, or if once again people is mixing me up with another Rastafarian on the other side, because the last time I checked, I don't speak Spanish. So nobody have to attack me and say, not in this house, no Spanish. But anyway, I'm going to leave that alone and move on. Idiots come in all shapes and sizes, and this is exactly why, to protect the next generation, we provide them with the tools that they need so that critical thinking is a part of their everyday life. It must become second nature for people to understand. So again, recalling out again, I'm definitely going to resume the tablet drive. I don't know if Walking in Divine Purpose is here, but the same rule applies. The donations where it's necessary, you send them for the tablet drive, and we're going to continue to raise these tablets, and certainly I will use my office and within my capacity to ensure that the children of Portland, all of them, Perline Hall says, I'm giving away chicken and chips. That is good. People need to eat as well. But anyway, to ensure that we complete what we're doing with ensuring that the children have the tablets so that they're in a position to learn even when school can't keep. Whatever happens at the end of this storm, and we hope that it passes over, that not even a drop of rain will fall and nothing will happen. And if that is the case, I will say with the greatest of respect that we hope certainly that lives won't be lost and property will be preserved. The roads won't escape in nearby bushes, because they're going to then say that me as a just come is the one who is supposed to fix the road, them when them have them social media warriors saying I don't fix no road and the road is whoever. Again, I'm just saying that is why we cannot take things for granted. Things must be done properly. Somebody's asking me how much tablets are giving away. You can tell them they don't follow me, Lord, we pray. I honor your name and I honor your mercy. Today is the day, not today, Lord, not today. So we definitely are at an impasse, but I just know that we need to protect the next generation. We need to also ensure that the next generation is um, getting the quality education necessary to become productive citizens, qualified, and is not chasing hand to mouth paychecks that keeps them outside of the humanitarian spectrum, and makes them, desperate and young savages that are heartless, because that's not what we want for our nation, certainly. So just raising that. Then the overlap about the human rights now. Um, it's tenfold. I'm constrained to say that the Caribbean is a zone of peace. Certainly, I born come here, that born come see that. No matter what's going on all over the world, we don't fight wars in the Caribbean Sea. We don't fight wars in our neighboring countries. Hostility between the nations has never escalated beyond Shanique Myrie, even with Guyana and Venezuela arguing over oil and land and property and ocean beds, has never escalated. Like I said, the biggest passa has been Shanique Myrie with the Barbados situation, and lo and behold, enters Mia Motley, enters the treaty, the display of the what the our forefathers thought about when the Treaty of Chaguaramas was signed, and that is the regional integration, freedom of movement, free to live in these spaces and work and settle, and understanding that, notwithstanding that you're from Barbados, you still can go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and integrate into their society, minus bringing the violence and the negativity to disrupt culture, especially a culture that is progressive. And all these nations who would have come on together to say that we're unifying our nations. Um, no beat and teach. I don't speak in Spanish. Un poquito. Yeah? Un poquito. Yo comprendo un poquito. Yeah. Anyway, yo comprendo en español un poquito. Yo hablo español un poquitito. Chiquitito. Anyway, let me stop. So, for I'm glad you could laugh, beats and teach. That's an inside joke, right? I don't even get there yet. And so, hoping that Jamaica will get there, especially as Andrew Holness, the Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, is the head of CARICOM, and we want to be able to move freely across Caribbean countries and integrate culturally. Caribbean people are beautiful people. Some of the accents are funnier than some. Jamaica, of course, have the accent. I know me say it, but them say Jamaican accent. Nice! Yeah, so nice. And just being one of the gems of the Caribbean is a blessing given to us by God. No matter what they say about, I sound like I'm doing the We Are Mad song. No matter what they say about our countries being developing nations, and some say third world countries, one thing I can tell you for sure is that we're great all across the Caribbean. Good. So let's just leave it at that. So kudos. In saying that, it would also mean that we are praying for our brothers and sisters across the region for their safety. In Portland, Eastern Portland, always have to rep for Eastern Portland, and I know you know why by now. There's a large fishing community. The fishing business is one of the processes and procedures, access to food security through the fisheries, fishing and food from the sea. Good. Going into deeper waters in the Caribbean from Colombia to Venezuela and fearing that you might end up dead is not a good feeling. Cuba is 90 miles away from Jamaica. Um, Haiti is not so far either, and if you continue, then comes the Bahamas, but going the other way towards Trinidad. And if you know your geography, even though the hotspot right now is between Venezuela, Trinidad, Guyana, kind of thing going on there, with their oil wars and all of that, the Caribbean Sea, many lives have been lost by airstrikes. Just to say that in any space, that life is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. I didn't make this up. It is what people should understand. If you Google it, you'll see its origin. But to say that the right to life is sacrosanct, it's an important right in constitutions all across the Caribbean and the world. Um, Ironically, our constitution says, except by judicial pronouncement, you have you have the right to life. So if there is a verdict in the court that says you should be sentenced to death or life, which results in death for your natural life, then you would appreciate that you have the right to life. The right is, and even not just the right to life, but quality life. So I'm putting that out there because I think people need to appreciate, certainly. Pauline says, well, whatever the target is, I'm just saying that the right to life is where there is an issue. Um, so having said that, is something for us to think about in terms of the Caribbean being peaceful. The Caribbean is so peaceful that Jamaica for decades have been seen as the murder capital and how high crime society, and no other Caribbean country wants to be like Jamaica. Maurice, you keep putting up question signs, so it's catching my attention, but I don't know what you're asking. Anyway, so having said that, the thought is that freedom of movement is part of the Constitution. Oh, somebody says I should wipe my camera. Let me wipe my camera. Don't think it's any different. Yeah. Don't know if it's any different. Yeah. So anyway, having said that, all right, blessings. It says better. Yeah. The due process is also a constitutional right. So if you're accused of anything, you're cloaked in the presumption of innocence, and you have a right to a fair hearing within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial jury. I'm going to have to set a time to speak about ex parte Pinochet and the stipendiary magistrate case, where it says that a man must not be a judge in his own cause. You'll tend to find that persons will agree and accept certain conduct from certain people because they have a particular interest. In the Pinochet case, Lord Hoffman's wife was a member of a board in a company, and he had to be removed from the panel of the House of Lords just because his wife sat on a board and the case was being heard and the company was a party to it. So the idea behind it is that justice must appear to be done. Any appearance of bias is enough for judges to recuse themselves. Same thing, prosecutors, even defense attorneys, parliamentarians, anything. So much so that the standing orders speaks about the conflict if you are become a member of parliament or some government, right, is a conflict of interest if you are a member of a company or some company is pretty much related to you or affiliated with you. You would have to get an exemption to ensure that the conflict doesn't make you have to resign. That's how serious these things are, and why you can't be a judge in your own cause, and there cannot be no mixing up. Kind of like in Parliament on Tuesday. So since I've been in Parliament, I've been able to ask questions. I'm a competent human being, so I can't fathom ever in life that I was trained by, there's a Dr. Michael Abrams now, his Father Abrahams, and he used to teach extra lessons. And on top of his blackboard, it says, ask questions, you will learn by asking questions. Well, the standing orders from 14, 15, 16, 17 have all kind of rules as to how to ask questions, types of questions, and all of that. But let me just say this right here. There is a modern mic system in the parliament that's wholly ineffective and inefficient. They need to spend money again to upgrade it to facilitate the type of exchange and interactions. The minute you have to put out memos or amend or directions on how to use mic, it tells you how backward the system is. I'm just gonna tell you that straight up. Take it from me, who have both Samsung and Apple smartphones, and why these companies upgrade them every single year is that technology is constantly advancing. Now imagine whether it can be amended or whether it can be approved or whether it can be improved is something for government to do. What I'm going to say now in terms of my critique is walking into a house where Siri is here and Alexa is here, Google is here. You go in your car and Mercedes say, how can I help you? And you can talk and you can mute. You can make face signs to mute. The whole idea that the speaker of the house up there looking like a switchboard operator, like she work in a one call center, is possibly why there's this push to have every future child working in a call center. I'm not going to even have a conversation about whether or not the speaker of the house should be the speaker of the house. That's not my remit. Generally, the people who say she shouldn't be the speaker of the house, there was an opportunity to vote, and I am still maintaining Jamaica missed the mark. Pun intended. Not going to go beyond that. But if you take up the work and you're frustrated by being a little switchboard operator, because that's what it looks like. So if it's made for TV, and people gonna cuss me for this, but you take up the work and the only thing you have are the earpiece, and you're there, how can I help you? Hold for me, please, and you have to press, and this whole waste of human intellect, placing who I believe, and you can check the internet, that I think this lady is bright. I think she's a strong black woman. I think she's not to be underestimated. And I'm going to big her up. Always big her up. I've always big up the Speaker of the House in her own right. And it's not my business who her husband is. And the thing about it, I look in the Constitution, I look in the legislation, nothing prevents her but our moral compass. And our moral compass, in my view, is broken. For if it were not broken, the government of the day would not be the government of the day. Open bracket, corruption, close bracket, you know the rest. The idea, though, that such a technology falls short and allows human emotion to guide it, because if I were the Speaker of the House, I'd be so frustrated having to be a switchboard operator. I think it is understanding that parliamentary work is helper and gardener work. I accept that. There's nothing to celebrate about, because you must always recognize that you're a servant of the people. So when I go to the House of Parliament as a member of Parliament, I am there as a representative of the people of Portland Eastern, and I also to give contribution to legislative changes, introduction of bills, and just the governance, the overseeing of a government that may sometimes, certainly with the portfolio I have, breach human rights in the decisions that they make. And especially, my mission in life is to ensure that as we become a republic, that the contribution is to protect the human rights aspect of it, and to ensure that when we do become a republic, that we are not in a lesser position as citizens of this country than we are in now, where rights are trampled on, even when the Constitution says it so. And the custos morums of the Constitution, that is the judges of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court and the final court, which is in England currently, and whether it remains or goes to the CCJ, as long as it doesn't be the final court in Jamaica, I would have done my job and in my contribution. So I'm in Parliament to protect the rights of the people and to protect the people and represent the people of Portland. And that includes myself as a resident of Portland. So to go into a space to get instructions on how to use the little backward system is beneath me. It's beyond me. Respectfully, it's not something that I can fathom, but you have to respect the system, and it should have come with a little bit more humility, respectfully, because certainly, like, you have your iPhone 17 and you said, I'm going to airdrop something to you. You don't expect the person to not have an iPhone, no matter which iPhone, and can't airdrop. So the person has to whisper with humility and say, bossy, I don't have a iPhone, I don't have a Mac, I don't have an iPad, I don't have a device that can accept your modern technology of airdrop. Could you possibly WhatsApp it to me? I apologize for not being a lover of the Apple. And you say, all right, okay, you non-iPhone person, you let me find an alternative way. So it is the person with the pop-down system must come with humility and say, the system is not modern despite us spending millions of dollars to improve it. We have found out that there is some defects and improvements, and until then, here is the best way. But you don't try to defend a liquor system that is well the technology is so backward that I cannot believe I'm having a conversation about a primitive system in 2025. And it's not the hardware, it is the software that falls short. And let me give you an example. If I get up to ask a question, having been in that that queue, and I'm acknowledged, and I go to ask my question, and the minister or the member who would have given the presentation on the government side gets up to answer the question, and I have a follow-up question, all mics have to lock off so that my mic can turn on back. I don't know if that makes sense to you. And so that no had nothing to do with no standing order. That no had nothing to do with standing order. That have to do with a primitive system that makes competent individuals such as myself. I am not going to speak for nobody else, but I know my competence and I know the technology that I interface with daily and the phones that I have and the electronic devices that I try to ensure that the children in my parish and the schools that they go to in my constituency are up to date, so that they don't grow up one day and find themselves as the speaker of the house and look like a switchboard operator. And because of the frustration of having to operate the mic and multitask by listening to issues raised in the house, that people have a right to ventilate by asking questions. And how the public is going to ever learn if the questions as formulated is not completed. So context always matters, you know, even if one gets up and asks a stupid question. The question must be asked and a ruling made that that question is inappropriate. Or the minister answers and says, that's not in my purview. And there is truth to that, because I recall just last week, I asked the Minister of Health, that would be Dr. Christopher Tufton, about garbage collection in light of dengue, which was a part of his presentation. I never said the Minister of Health is garbage. I never said he was a garbage man or a garbage collector. I simply asked him if he, in light of the fact that garbage is one of the breeding grounds for the mosquito, if they were going to clear the garbage. And he got up and he says, and if he would use his ministry to talk to the other minister, which is the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, and as to garbage collection. And see why these things are important, because you're going to have garbage and now you're going to have rain. And then if these things don't, the disaster come, because these are breeding ground in the heights of November. So we're talking about preparation, you know. So that's why drain cleaning, garbage removal, all of these things are important, especially pre-hurricane, storm, you name it. Right? And what then follows is that, having asked that question, the minister responded. This is last week. And in his response, he says, the minister is approachable. If I never asked that question, then I would know that the minister was approachable. And I said I asked the minister, you're going to pick up the garbage for me? And him said, don't worry yourself. And the next day, the garbage was picked up. And then the people on the internet never say our garbage is picked up. It's only when the garbage never pick up, there were people making videos to say garbage don't pick up. But when the garbage is pick up, everybody is quiet. I can live with that, because I'm there to ensure that the work is done. And I don't need to get the credit. But he who have eyes, let him see, and he who have ears, let them hear. And the next thing now is that if the question is inappropriate, it must be fully ventilated. And I can tell you this, I check the standing orders and I see what's in the standing orders, and I can tell you I'm an attorney. I know what is an appropriate question, and I know what is an inappropriate question. And what I will say is, if the question is not complete and persons aren't allowed to ask what is genuinely and honestly in their mind, and then persons could get the context of the question, because that is why context matters. You cannot act like this is pre-ejaculation and jump the gun. If you do that, it's a false start and you're disqualified. And you cannot talk over people, use your bullyism and pontificate and make this political pageantry and embarrass people. We're not in primary school. And certainly, if you went to Stella Maris Preparatory School, I went to a prep school, private prep school, and they would never allow such crass behavior. So you see broad topsy, you see respect, it goes both ways. And I can tell you, I make the assessment, and you can go rewatch the video. It's difficult to multitask. It's difficult to process many things that are coming at you a million miles. But you see, if you can't manage the work, step aside. You see, if you can't do your work without being biased, right? If you're unable to I've visited Somerstown in Portland. Is there a reason you want me to visit it again? Because I go these places all the time. But if there is a reason why you find it difficult to just have basic human decency, to preserve human dignity of the other person, to not damage the egos of persons who are representing persons because they voted for them. And if the business of the day and the business of governance in Jamaica is to be conducted in the House of Parliament, it has to be done with respect. And if from nobody else, from the Speaker of the House. And so while it is that the Speaker might have been a little bit strong on the member from Southeast St. Mary, a freshman in the Parliament, I saw where there was great disrespect to a senior member of that house in Julian Robinson. And worst of all, if you don't even want to respect Marky G, you respect the role as the opposition leader. The leader of the opposition is a constitutional role, the creature of the Constitution. And so what arises is that if one creature of the Constitution, that is the Speaker of the House, is disrespectful to the leader of the opposition, I am not certain where we're going in this country. Because the last time I checked, everybody that is in the House was voted in. Everybody. If it were not so, I would not be there. So those who feel how they feel, just remember that there are persons who voted for me to be there, and I am there for them, not for nobody to turn off mic on me and be disrespectful to me. Cause you see me now. Hey, Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. Because me have parliamentary immunity. And me no need microphone to hear me, Me no need mic for nobody hear me. But let me tell you this. I am going to, the verdict is in, and I am humbly going to say that the reason there was bullying, butuism, and sheer rudeness, crassness vulgarism and just total nastiness to your fellow parliamentarian and just the whole environment is because the mic system is outdated. I'm not going to be like the Minister of Health and tell people to go get mentally checked. That's not my competence, and I doubt it is his. Yeah? And I'm not here to market me. I am simply here to say that, you see, the disrespect that took place could very well be why there was a time when they didn't even want black people to vote. And you just ask George William Gordon and Paul Bogle, who died so that we could vote, and why it is that we have come so far to give up. Am I quoting Cartel? The last time I did that, them suspend me. Now we come too far to give up. Anyway, is to say that we must conduct ourselves knowing that the future of this country is watching. I know they're watching. I'm a very popular person in this country. So if people weren't watching Parliament before, I'm in there now, so they're going to watch. Because they know that competence is there. They know that eloquence is there. So I'm going to big up myself. But I can say, having gone to the Privy Council and having my mic turned on in the Privy Council, and for 17 minutes, the lords who govern the courts in this country, the highest courts in the land, listened to me. And he even said, Mr. Buchanan, can I ask you a question? Ask me to interrupt. And I gave the go ahead. Check if you don't believe me. And the exchange was so filled with human dignity and respect between great men and woman, because there was Lady Simla. And even her questions that flowed and the respect given says to me, there is a time and place. And as long as courtesies are this is where it is important that being a grown-up is displayed. Because as I'm talking, I don't want nobody feel like I'm the Speaker of the House is my favorite person. Right now, probably anyway, Andre there, I'm gonna say, Lord God, but check the history, check the internet. The way me love Juliet Holness, I don't know how she's still married to Andrew Holness. But I just leave that alone. And that is because we pause for a second and remember that a black woman in this country in her own right, she sits in that seat, and I could say something, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm proud of her, and I think that people must come into themselves and always recognize, because what I'm not going to do, I can speak for me, is because I am the member of Parliament for Portland Eastern, I think my hyper than the people of Portland Eastern. No, sir. Check me on the road. I sit down on the road with them. And when me hungry like them. And rain a fall and breeze a go blow. And while it is chicken, anyway, you know the saying. We know. So we not change. Right? Yeah? Somebody say, I sat, you're proud of a criminal. You see how you see where the disrespect comes in, is that there is a time for political pageantry, and there's a time when you must also appreciate that the government business has to be done. For instance, there was the issue of Cuba that was in there, and while Warmington was correct, you come up in this house and you decide that you want to show the whole of Jamaica, say you know to speak Spanish. Ironically, many times at the United Nations, you could have turned on your mic and done that, but you didn't do it when you were in that portfolio. But anyway, not my business. Drink water and mind mine. Hold on, let me do it. And the standing order say you must speak English. So, and I didn't see anybody turning off mics and whatever, because they play to, again, the media. But it was important that the persons were not frustrated. That is, members of the opposition were not mistreated, ill-treated, and the leader of opposition disrespected in the manner that it was done. There's no justification in law, in morality, in fact, and in basic human dignity that can, and decency, that can justify the disrespect. And I start with the leader of opposition, because while it is that you may feel like you were training young MPs, you don't do that to the leader of opposition. I'll take it one step further. That same took place with the leader of government business, but that was corrected in sidebar, and I appreciate that type of exchange. And these things are happening in real time. So again, I'm going to leave it to frustrating for being a mic operator, and switching and clicking is unbecoming of the Speaker of the House, and the mic system should be improved to allow her to interact and interface and listen to persons and rule with respect and decency and courtesy and completely unbiased. That's my submission in relation to that. But as we walked out of Parliament, I was looking forward to contributing to the expungement bill, the rehabilitation bill. That's what I call it. Issues that were ripe for debate, and I intend to make my contribution, because there are several persons, just by the legal system and this push to make ordinary citizens into criminals, this push to convict, and this push with mandatory minimum sentences, and how we treat with persons can be unbiased, Shambi, but that's another thing. But the act, as I was saying, the amendment and the clarity and the contribution that I was looking forward to make, it didn't happen. But then when you looked at the agenda, it wasn't up for debate until next week. So watching that, as well as just the whole Cuban thing, and then the Standing Orders Committee was something that was to also be debated, and the outcome of that, as you know, stifled by the whole, just the whole cast. I'll leave it at that. But having, we're at the break hour, so give me a bit. I'll soon come.
That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Yeah. And then there's this thing, there's a culture that I don't, maybe it has always been around, but usually it was reserved for the minibus or the bus before there was robot taxi. And even then, in spaces. As a man, you couldn't trace a woman in the marketplace and win. You can't win. Woman then would done you. But then also, if you don't know for muster and can take muster, you probably have to leave those things alone. So I've always wondered, when did such a culture enter into spaces where the highest form of profession is supposed to be. And I'm not talking about being on a TV show where you can muster and people call people size 13 and round hole in a peg hole or peg in a round hole and all those things. No, I'm talking about being in the right place and at the right time and knowing when to be professional from going outside of being professional. And I read the standing orders. I don't see where there is a space to be unprofessional when you're dealing with the business of Jamaica. That's just me. I just think that just on a whole, our country has descended into a space where the vitriol that people spit and spew, and it's done from people who don't know you. It's even done from people who are not in the same room with you. And Selector Princess, that's just it. There are people who are spewing vitriol that are incapable of reading a room because they'll never be in the same room as you. And even if they end up being in price smart with you, them now pass them place like that, like how they behave on the internet. And whether they're loyalists and stuff like that. And so the courtesies I'm speaking of is in the context that a lot of these persons are friends. The political, the electorate class and the selected class, that is senators and parliamentarians, they're friends. So perhaps maybe that is why they can behave like that with each other. But then when you see there's a walkout, you know who and who is you know that there is the office that must be respected, and the dynamics of male and female never changes. And so when we're on the spectrum of patriarchy, one wonders if there is overcompensation. Yeah, but Miss Francis, it says the mic is not the problem, Mr. Buchanan. Improper uses of its technology is the issue. You are too kind. Well, the only improper use of the technology is the turning off of the mic by the speaker when persons are making a comment and you don't want to hear them. So perhaps the whole thing where you see that's misuse of technology in with your smartphones, because you go on social media, you're in the live, somebody are disrespect you block them or you mute them. You're on Facebook and somebody make 2 comments you don't like, you block them and you report them. You do the same on X, you do the same on Instagram, you do the same on TikTok. But here it is where the people that you're interfacing with are elected members of the house that have the business of the people, and that's why they're there. Nobody is there because they're pretty, because I checked and there are too much pretty people in that they're hosted. So let's just be for real. So we're there with the old self, and most of us with ugly self. And here it is that we take up with ugly self and showing the whole of Jamaica the disunity when it comes to doing the government business. So me just take time try to fix my face. And even when I try to do that, I see snippets on the TV with my ugly face. I'm when they catch me, because certain things just you cannot talk. That's just it. You just, when you talk down to people, it's just really unkind and it's really rude. Especially when you're talking down to people and you're not up there. in the context of the people you're talking down to. I have to say it like that because everybody is there equally because people voted for them. I find it very hard to believe who could be talking down to the next person. And yeah, you get a one up. You're the government, so yeah, you get a one up because more people voted for you collectively, so you became the government. But people also voted for the opposition, so they have a right to be there. And the voices and the contributions are important. What I tell you, what I find distasteful on any side is political pageantry. That stuff should be reserved for Miss World, Mr. Universe, Miss Universe, and all the pageants and festival queen and all of these things. And the world is a stage, and even though Parliament is one, the House is one as well because it's now streamed live for all to see. Is exactly why you should be respectful. So when people turn off the TV, they say, boy, these people, as they're doing the government business, our nation should take that on. But when the proceedings end and it sounds like you was in a robot taxi and somebody bright and early in the morning coming at the people them taxi with them $5,000 and the first trip of the day, of course it's gonna get like that. It cannot be said that the way people behave in Parliament is no different from, I don't want to say carnation market, I don't want nobody cuss me, but the hustle and bustle, the being in the bus, right? That's how I'm seeing. Somebody say anybody in the comment section can buy some grocery, please. That's why I must send the lions. Send me the lions. Me over here with my 86 subjects. Send me the lion. No, what's your name? Somebody Rosalie, that she said, yeah. Anyway, so I think I would have addressed that issue and will say that Parliament is to upgrade those mics so that the Speaker of the House does not become frustrated by the inability to just by the click of a button turn on the mic she chooses based on the seating in the house. That's just my thing. Switchboard style. It's not a her problem. It's the the outdated version of the mic. And maybe the mic people might hear me and say, I don't know what I talk about. I will stand corrected, because if I'm putting the blame on the mic and the mic people and the technology people say it's not the mic, then we'll address this and it would conclude then that it is the speaker. So it's a matter for the mic people, and I'll leave that alone. But to speak now on the other issues, so there are videos floating around, and as I said, I thought about playing them, but I decided not to, where persons, mentally ill persons locked up in the prison. I think this particular prison is GP, and chink has totally infested the cells, and chinkness is there, and the mattress is not fit for human sleeping, or I can't even say consumption, but for human use. And the chink is biting them up, and just totally just inhumane conditions. And I can recall addressing those issues in relation to one client, but to see that it subsists, and whilst doing a particular appeal, an affidavit was speaking about chink, and the response was from the prison people is, oh, they must carry them chink mattress from another institution. We don't have chink. I'm just reminding people that from a human rights standpoint, we it don't matter what nobody do. Even when you go to prison, you don't lose your sense of humanity. You don't lose your human dignity. And if facilities cannot house you with the basic necessities, including water to bathe when the time comes, flushing toilet, running water, hygiene products provided by the state so that your family don't have to bring your soap and don't have to bring your deodorant and don't have to bring your toothpaste. Then you're not running a prison institution and the monies that's being spent is obviously going somewhere else. And let me tell you something, I always talk about new car versus old car. You think you can, or even house, you think you can just show paint, panting, and it solves the problem? I'm here to tell you, this thing where we always surface stuff, even the road, all the roads during election where them just dump tar in a thing. The rain fall a couple of days and the potholes are bigger and badder. And when your wheel go down in there, it come out not being a wheel. And it's the same thing. You can't just throw paint on the front of an institution, fix up the reception area and throw a AC in it so that when people come, they think that they live in conditions. And on the warden them don't live there, the inmates that their cells must be fixed. And especially if a judge in her wisdom or his wisdom decides that a man is to spend the rest of his life in prison, then the infrastructure should come up to date. And he must live. He wasn't given a death sentence, so you can't send him into a chink-infested cell so that he can be bitten and then he has open sores, and then when the rat come and nibble him foot and the sore, him catch leptospirosis and die in 2 years, and then everybody say, yeah, him did for dead kind guilty before his appeal, which takes 10 years these days to complete if you're going all the way to the Privy Council. And these are just markers, and I'm raising it because I would raise it even if I didn't have the human rights portfolio. And again, I'm not sure it matters to people when you raise these things because they're gonna say you're sympathetic to criminals. But I'm sympathetic to persons who are in the prison system that have been wrongfully convicted, tried and proven, and while they do that, they have to stay in inhumane conditions, even when the Correction Act says if you are a guest with an appeal pending, they're to have the space for you to bring your own bed, your TV, your dresser, wear your own clothes, shoes, and your family is to bring you the type of food. And they say, oh, for security reasons, we can't give you all of that. If you don't have it, then the person is to be on bail pending appeal. And if the bail, when that is over, when you put the people in the prison. So I'm just going to suggest once again, and I may bring the private motion that we are to bring sunset legislation and we are to reset. Non-violent offenders are not to be in prison. The prison population needs to be reduced so the worst of the worst and the violent is in a prison where we have the ability to fix the other prisons. And that's just me, And see, Kenisha is saying she's making reference to the lockup. So persons certainly in Port Antonio are housed in all the way in Buff Bay because they don't have a proper lockup for them in East Portland. And that the Castle Police Station, the women stay there. But even then, our prison system is so bad, we can't even lock up women good. And I'm not advocating for that. I should say, thank God that that's not something that we do daily and regularly. And one can appreciate. I mean, it has to be something that we think about because we also are incarcerating juveniles, youth offenders, and they're subjected to this inhumane treatment, and they're becoming dehumanized and finding themselves dehumanized. They then become hardened criminals, and they never forget. and then you want to then expect reintegration and rehabilitation after going through post-traumatic prison syndrome, whatever it is, incarceration syndrome, with inhumane treatment, and it causes these people to then be upset at the system. And so again, we have to think about, somebody says no water. I don't even know what that means. No water. I don't know if it's in the prison or it's in your parish. And look, somebody's asking me, when will the urban center in Portland be open? The thing not even reach nowhere yet, and them ask me that I'm gonna just turn the MP on the 18th of September. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and only. So that's just something to think about. And I must remind you also, yeah, somebody, I will go to remind you that the UK at one point had offered to build a prison in Jamaica, and that was rejected. I think the US, Canada, and the UK should each donate a brand new prison, especially the US and the UK, because they deport Jamaicans a lot. And it is a humbling experience to even have to be processed in a facility that is inhumane, coming from a foreign country to a third world country, where you realize that when you were locked up in America, you were probably locked up in better conditions than people who are living free in the world, as in the country. And so it's difficult to try to explain the humanitarian dilemma, the breach of constitutional rights, human rights breaches, because you would have to go to foreign to get an appreciation of the deficit that has to be met on the human spectrum, what it is that you need to be to live like a human being. And yeah, happiness is one of them, but you can be unhappy and still be a human. But some of the things that is required, if there were box that you had to tick, even outside of the prison, it's not being met, let alone saying, but we're a third world country, so we're doing our best. It is a thing where, and at the same time, you're sitting in Parliament saying to the Jamaican people that we need to increase the mandatory minimum and we need to keep people locked up longer in inhumane conditions. Is the hate and the vitriol that comes with it, especially when you're putting non-violent offenders, that is mala prohibita, crimes of prohibition, which a lot of these crimes, sometimes there's no pending victim. And if there is a victim, it's not the loss from the victim is monetary loss or loss of some property that can be replaced. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just simply saying, when you look at what's expected from the Constitution, we have to rethink that. And it's the same thing. We have to ensure that our children are not exposed to criminality because of bad drafting legislation. For instance, youthful exuberance is wasted on the youth. As a youth offender, I'm going to always have to talk about mistakes, because young people will make mistakes and their brains are developing. So that some of the choices that they make may come from peer pressure. They may find themselves in a vehicle and a gun is in it. They may find themselves in a vehicle and a toy gun is in it. And when that happens, talking about the toy gun, some idiot decided that they was going to draft legislation that made toy guns attract a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years for possession simpliciter. When everywhere else in the world, a toy gun, you can get time for it, not by possession simpliciter, but if it is found that it's being used in commission of a felony. So there are markers and things that make sense, but there are things that are nonsensical. There are things that when you look at it on its face, you should immediately say we have to address this, lest we will cause young people to suffer because of badly drafted legislation. And I just think that we have to come to terms with that and say we are fixing that problem. Now, I will just continue to say that when we are thinking about what we expect from Jamaica, I'm sure we can all agree that it must be the advancement of the lives of Jamaicans. So we are at the part where they said choose Jamaica, but is it that Jamaicans are being chosen? Because right after that, I still see the taxi men crying out. I even see private businesses saying that JUTC is taken away from their income. Right? So I see people still intrigued by the whole mic lock off in Parliament. So I just think that we have a lot of thoughts, or we have a lot of work to do in terms of what we consider to be right, what we consider to be wrong, but whether or not we're including the people when we're doing whatever we're doing. Walking in divine purpose. I was telling you to tell them about the tablet drive, which we now have to resurrect. I've been getting a lot of calls from parents who saying that, boy, the rain or fall, school did lockdown from earlier this week in anticipation, and tablets needed and all of that. And so, weather being an unforeseen reality, we have to kind of get back in the groove of that. So putting the diaspora on notice, or anybody else that believes that education is important, that we need to continue this, and just putting that out there for you. Last but not least, I want to get back to talking about preparation and what that looks like. We living in a country where people are surviving day by day. So when rain don't fall, we don't have water. So we're on a quest for water. When storms come, it's too much water, and then the water got lock off because they have to clean the water. So there's always that water problem. But also for the people who get up Monday to Sunday, and it is throughout the day that they are able to make the money or beg the money or find ways to get food. One can just imagine the crisis that comes with a natural disaster, which will hinder your ability to survive. So we pause to recognize that where preparation is concerned, after you've gone to the supermarket and you've gotten all the things that you need for yourself and your family, if you are able to think of one elderly person or a homeless person, and you can afford to give, I will only say that please do so. We cannot continue to pretend that it's survival of the fittest. Somebody said, go ahead, 130. 130 say, I have a question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. You see why context matters? I tell you, don't tell me some chat too much, Yeah, but go ahead. But living in the reality that as I'm talking about preparation, there are persons who cannot afford to prepare. There are persons who cannot afford to buy the basic necessity. So we speak about this many times, but if you're here for the first time, Maslow's laws of hierarchy. Um, it speaks about the physiological needs or the physical need, the food, the clothes, the shelter. So for those needs, it would mean that there are persons who will die and never transcend those needs. Yeah, they've just been able to afford food, clothes, and shelter. So some people have the food and the clothes pat down, but then not no shelter. And then right now, the homeless are going to have to go into shelters because the rain is going to fall and you can't just be out on the road. And somebody said, who named Maslow? It's Maslow. Maslow. He was a economist. And so, yeah, Google it. So anyway, what we also have to appreciate is that transcending those needs may not come for everybody in this lifetime, but appreciate also that if you have your work and you are doing what you are doing and you are trying to keep life together, can you imagine um can you imagine those who's not working and not keeping life together, then come a natural disaster? But we must always look to the other side and say, we're going to be optimistic about what the future looks like. So I was speaking to a client and she said the rain is going to fall, but it's not going to fall hard and it's going to pass over and we should not worry. And I said, I received this message because Jamaica is not prepared. And I don't care what they say. I don't care what the labor rights say. We're not prepared for a storm, let alone a hurricane. We can't manage. You know what I know we can't manage? There are still people who are asking for zinc and block and just a try and on tarpaulin. Right now, there are people are saying we could have get 2 tarpaulin in preparation for this weather because my house are gonna leak. It not go pretty. Yeah, we barely can manage. Marcus Garvey Drive full. When liquor rain fall for 2 hours, let alone rain is going to fall the whole weekend for 3 days. Landslides are going to be there. And we're going to be reactive. I see National Works Agency and the Minister, Robert Nesta Morgan, is being proactive and him trying to clean up the path of the storm to make sure so the water flow. So we know, and ODPEM is doing what it's doing, and the city government said them pay public sector workers early so they can go into the supermarket and buy up the bread and this and that. Hear it? Food, clothes, and hope so your shelter dry. I'm just showing you, we go into a panic and then all the people who are optimistic say, oh, we're not going to a supermarket. Last time we go to a supermarket, not even a little breeze blow on the bread, we never eat bread. I'm a thing said. Yeah. And for those, this is a time when we just feel better if we're one of those 7 virgins with the lamb. It's better to prepare and be ready than this thing come and then the light lock off. Because we see JPS I say, the place saturated and rain are gonna fall and the light are gonna cut off, and just be prepared for go through it. So you might have an electric stove and if light go, you're dead in the show. You have people who have them house fully solar right now, have to take down solar panels because them no want the wind come blow it away and mash up the thing. So it's the same thing. You're out here and you're saying, oh, Flow and Digital are foolishness. I'm gonna get Starlink. As the rain start falling, I have to take down the dish and no more Starlink during the hurricane. Or the storm or whatever it is. And it's just processing and doing your best to ensure that you don't fall victim. And that's another thing. No matter what, the most important thing to protect is your life, the safety of yourself and your family. It's like self-defense. You're protecting yourself and others. Yeah? And that's just what the reality is. Somebody asked me if the airport will be closed. That's a matter for the Minister of Information, and these people will tell you what got closed from when I close. And the Minister of Transport are the best person to tell you that. See, Lexi Choa asked me if I'm safe. I'm safe. You safe? I'm safe. You safe? I'm safe. As well as property. Ensuring that any property that you have to look. Somebody to make sure Pops is good enough. Yeah, Pops good more than anything. And if you have a generator, make sure it working. Here, they see all of the things, and we just have to check on our neighbors, check on the elders, protect our children at this time. Those who, and then see there's somebody said, put up your documents and make sure it no flood out. I will say that somebody said, ISAT is not the meteorologist. Yeah, somebody asked me, I'm just here to talk about being optimistic. Lem Mello say, me unsafe, Lord God. And batteries. So I have batteries, but I don't have a flashlight. How that go? So when night come, you go sleep and then wait till the morning. If tomorrow comes, tomorrow never dies. You name it, James Bond. But I mean, even saying, yo, I hope I have my charger, so my phone charged fully and all the madness that come with it, no? But at the end of the day, it is just to ensure that you're prepared. And we must be optimistic, We have to be praying people. Somebody say, real, sir. About the flashlight? Yeah, real thing. So we just think about that. And once you understand that. But again, it is just a matter of accepting the reality. As I said, I think I was 9 when Gilbert came. And what started off as an exciting time, I think I did drop and lick my head. When I see a coke up on my head now, I wonder if at the same spot I did lick my head. And it come back now years later. But anyway, and then when we did wake up after me did knock out, Gilbert did done. But I was present for a part of it, but it certainly did do me a thing, right? The other hurricanes I wasn't in Jamaica for. Burial did St. Elizabeth and that side of the island really bad. And sometimes when you're in Jamaica, I was here for burial, so let me not say that. But you'll be here in Jamaica, and then burial will take place, and then so that's 2023, yeah. And then you never see nothing really happen, and you say, oh, nothing not go on. Meanwhile, the other side of Jamaica mash up, flat and done. And so it is now. Burial is expected to hit the eastern side of the island. So St. Thomas, Portland is going to get it hard. And we just have to look for, see, somebody's stopping burial a couple hours down, but it was lucky. That is so true. Like they go for a little bit too. But during burial, KFC was open. So I wonder. Safe. So that I can't bother pay Cardi B for that, but she have a song called Safe. Safe, like you. Cause when you know I'm fine. You take off the pressures off my mind. Yeah. So that is that. Yeah, and big up to all the people who have joined because I did not advertise, I just show up. So shout out to everybody. So if there are any questions for me, you can put it in the chat and I will answer it. Um, how to contact me? You can contact me at 555 Stay Alive. That's the number 555 Stay Alive on your FM dial. Mm-hmm. I said, does the immunity in Parliament extend to physicality? If you thump down somebody, it Murray, what's with the violence? How that come up? Talk to me. Let's be for real. That's hilarious. Yeah. Somebody said, what is your take on the CCJ? The CCJ is a competent court, and I think that the CCJ is though the president of the CCJ is a Jamaican right now. So you see the irony. Had we transitioned to a republic and switched to the court to the CCJ, we would have a Jamaican as the president of the CCJ, and that's something good in my mind. I think that having been one of the few lawyers that have been to the CCJ, that the CCJ is a competent court and is just as good as the Privy Council. It's accessible to Jamaicans because Trinidad is not that far as opposed to England, and access to justice is a serious issue when it comes to the Privy Council. If you're not rich, it's not easy to make it. Even the poorest person take a couple of millions to just get out and get there. And for those who never have to spend a dollar because human rights groups intervene into their appeals, it still costs money. It still costs millions of dollars. And funding raised by people who care and people who have an interest in justice, it's still money spent. And a lot of times I realize that persons who don't have to find the money but is the beneficiary of it, they oftentimes can't appreciate that no matter what it is, there is monetary value to even charity. So people will donate and you get a barrel. And when you get the barrel, you get shoes, you get clothes, you get food, you get toiletries, you get linen, as in bed linens, curtains, everything. And the sum total of everything that you get can be all $120,000, and people think because you never put the $120,000 in them hand, you never really do nothing for them. And so people must appreciate when it comes to access to justice, the value of some of these things, and think about it accordingly. So I'm for the CCJ. I practice in both courts. I love the Privy Council. And somebody said, I said, why you love the Privy Council? England, nice. Central London, Westminster, whether you're going to be at Leicester Square or Soho or wherever you're going to be, Chancery, Oxford. If you're going to be in Central London and you walk up and down and London, nice, and if a winter, you put on your winter clothes and you walk up and down, breeze blow on you 2 times, and you're cool like you wash your face with a cake soap on your hand white, so you look like you did a bleach. If that's the reason and basis why I like the Privy Council, we can go to the CCJ. You hear me? I'll say it like that. What I will say though is the respect from the Privy Council, and appreciating that the laws that we are using in our country are laws that were made by are the laws of England and used across the Commonwealth, and we don't live in a vacuum. I keep telling people that and people don't understand. Somebody say, I said, why did you take so long to move when your colleagues were walking out? Also, your face showed your disgust when the lady in the high seat was acting like a petulant child. Wow. You see how triple A battery come mix me up. Why did I take so long to move? I had like I said, I was preparing to give my contribution to the Rehabilitation Act. When I saw that we were walking out, I had iPad, phones, documents, I had a lot of things that were out, and I had to pack it up. And I was moving. Plus, I had on a really nice suit on. My suits are expensive. And the camera just needed to catch my suit because, I mean, Parliament is just for dress up. It's not like we do anything else in there apart from pressing mics and throwing word on the other side, and we are just a whole bunch of incompetent imbeciles that are in the 5th grade, and some of us are in grade 1 because it's a primary school. So I might as well dress up and look good. My tie is so damn expensive, and then I wasn't even in there for 2 hours, so people could have said, oh, I said suit look good, it was the best for the day, because it was. So I was like, I'm not leaving until the camera catch me. And then the camera catch me, and I was like, and then I just walk out. Yeah. I mean, what else we do in Parliament but dress up? Trying to get the best dress award. God damn it. So anyway, so I hope I answered the question given to me from TikTok about the CCJ, and I hope I answered the question about the thing. And my face, I kept telling you, I'm ugly. Yeah, I'm an ugly dude. Even though girls all over the world want to up me, I'm still ugly. I'm an ugly you. Understand? It's a life of a city boy moving to the country. So anyway, my face look is because I'm ugly. And even while I'm on context matters, if I don't pay attention and look up and see my face, I probably talk and someone look with my ugly self. I can't help it. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry. Looking like a silverback. Only 2 people look sad on the whole of Jamaica, you know, me and Basil. Oh God. Basil. Anyway, let me stop. Yeah. So that's that. So I think that we have to just balance the two. So what the republic will look like, I know the position of the People's National Party under the leadership and guidance of the leader of opposition, Mark Jefferson Golding, is that the CCJ is non-negotiable. But I will say to the Jamaican people that I'm okay with the CCJ. The only thing I'd be missing is trips to England. That's it. And that can be done outside of going to England for law, because again, you're going there to do the business of your clients, which is to ensure that they get access to justice. So if it's cheaper if it's in Trinidad in essence, because you're still in the Caribbean region. Also, I think Caribbean judges have an appreciation for the constitutional restrictions and how constitutional law plays a significant role in the jurisprudence of the Caribbean. So England doesn't have a written constitution, and they generally don't like to touch constitutional matters because they understand sovereignty. I think the interpretation of the Constitution, the Privy Council has managed to give generous interpretation of the Constitution, which advances the jurisprudence. We've seen cases which I've been a part of from the CCJ, where the right to freedom of expression was generous interpretation was given to it, and it was the reason why the Virgo case ended up being the locus classicus in the Jamaican jurisdiction. A well-written judgment by Justice Brooks, the former president of the Court of Appeal. So I could talk about this for days, because trust me, law is just a beautiful thing. When you see outcomes from just law and how significant it is to the jurisprudence when you get it right. And so I just think of that and continue to process the whole thing. What I've noticed lately is that persons don't think about all of these intricacies, but are ready to go to the Republic. And I will just say this. Well, somebody said, are we in Porty ready for Melissa? We certainly have done some pre-preparation work on drain cleaning today. All of the emergency people, Parish Council, NWA, Water Commission, JPS, Ministry of Education, OddPen, I'm in contact, live in my phone. They've given me access to information and even facilities. As I said, allocation was given to Portland to ensure that these things were done, and they are being done as we speak, and they'll be toiling upwards through the night while their companions are sleeping and creeping. And that's just the response or the answer to that. Let's just say it like that. For the most part though, Shambi, I didn't see what your question was, but I was answering something before that came up. I probably need to go back. Please explain how the two-party rules in a republic. Can you tell us how Jamaica would govern? Jamaica would govern exactly as it is governed now, because the parliamentary system, the Westminster system, would remain intact. The only thing is, in terms of a republic, is the removal of the king, you know. And even though they had pre-legislation, so they don't really, they're not really paying homage to the king in aspects of it, certainly in the parliamentary space. But the court still does it. Or have I noticed that they stopped? I don't even know. But it's really just the removal of the king, and then instead of a governor general, we would have a president. You can look to Barbados and you can look to Trinidad to see. I shouldn't even include Trinidad. Let me just say Barbados, because Barbados has the leader of all leaders running the country right now, in republic style, as opposed to gunslinging. Anyway, let me be respectful and mindful and very demure in my outbursts. Yeah, so if there are no questions for me, I will just say, starting the people of Portland Eastern, to be safe. Protect yourself, protect your life, be prepared. If you are in a home that you don't think can sustain winds and in a flood-prone area, you are to go to the shelters across the constituency. Know your emergency contacts, as well as, if there are old people around, pay special attention to them, your neighbors, your family members. Try to stay warm, try to stay dry during the rain. Make sure say when the rain stops, you are warm. Try to ensure that you have your non-perishable items. And I'm going to tell people to have them battery pack and these things, because maybe it's God telling you, say you need to come off of X and come off of TikTok and all of these things during that time, and give Rosalie some space to make the money, and so that Miss Kitty don't interfere with her. And outside of that, I mean, you just watch it. As I said, the drain cleaning is taking place right now. Outside of that, what happens after? Remember, Parliament is there, man. Again, between today and tomorrow, I have identified persons, and some persons have called me. The care packages will be given out, and it's just a little something to make sure you have things to munch on, yeah. So one thing you're not gonna get is no bulla, cause the bulla is for me as a bulla boy differently. You know what I mean? I say. I mean, after all, I'm in Parliament, grade 5, respectfully. Pet time, and always praying, always remaining optimistic. The church has always been a welcoming place, a shelter for persons. Some Africans say bull and pink milk. Why did you go there? And so we lean on our leaders within the space, and I know that we are going to pull through. We are a nation that has always survived the worst of the worst. And I'm confident that the responses to the natural disaster, we're just gonna have to build back. The most important thing is protection of life, ensuring that you are able to sustain yourself during the passing of the storm. What happens after the storm, I can tell you that the rain last year in November, there was a terrible rain, and it destroyed roads, and there was flooding, Rio Grande overflow, and persons lost mattresses. I was there. I gave water tanks, mattresses, you name it, cell phones, all of that. But like I said, if you have life, we can build back. I don't think that there's anything more I can say, but the preparation is just to ensure that you have life after the storm. And we must be optimistic that we are in a position that as long as we have life, we are able to build back and we're able to move forward. In a country with scarce resources, we trust in God that we won't be left outside. And that has never been the case. So we don't expect anything else to change that. So again, be safe. Thank you for watching Context Matters. The tablet drive info is coming soon. We're sorry for the delay. Thank you for understanding. That's coming from Walking in Divine, the moderator who, as soon as we hang up, she's gonna call and say, you see how you stay, you never give me the information, and people are pestering me about donating. Or you stay so ISAT, and I understand that. And again, to my people on Reggae Global Radio, thanks for always tuning in. TikTok, something else, believe me, but always show up. I don't reach none of my target today. I don't know why. It look like people gone buy food, so them not send me nothing, or them a give Rosalie the wallet for money. True, she don't have 86 subjects. But one thing I can tell you, she famous. But anyway, yeah, there's so many things to do. We will have a conversation next week about the aftermath. Also, many things is happening in the courts, both the local court of appeal, and I want to have a conversation next week about malicious communication, what it is, the misuse of it, selective prosecution, if that is a thing, as well as understanding the difference between threat and malicious communication, the object and purpose of the law. So you can't deal with people, and because you and them vex, you put the little naked business we want to go on with on the internet, because them no longer want to deal with you. And it works both ways. So if me and you in a relationship and you decide that you want to make me a porn star, you better do it Ray J, Kim Kardashian style. Because if I'm not getting millions, it's malicious communications. Me I go get it from you. So make sure say if you want to retain your Benz and your Beamer and your house, you don't put my information out there. Especially if you video me without my permission. All right? But vice versa, you cannot take the people them girl picnic and put them on the internet. It's malicious. You bad mind. You all can't be blessed like me. So you can't able, you understand? It's not all of us God bless. So if she wants to move on because you can't keep her, don't put her things out there. But also, the police is to appreciate that malicious communication is not a vehicle to lock up ordinary citizens to do the bidding of famous and influential people. So, for instance, when people out there doing them nastiness and they are discovered, it's they who are to interface with the law. It's not only in the United States, you tend to find that certain issues arise. But you cannot use the law to bully people to prevent them from speaking the truth about your nastiness and your slackness. More to come where that is concerned. But I'm going to use 1 minute I have left to say the sexual offences registry is to be open. If you don't want to be on that registry, don't have sex. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you don't know to control yourself and you find yourself in the court and convicted, you're going to be on the registry. If you have sex with a person under the age of 16 and you get on the list, you're going to be on the registry. And when you're on the registry, we know you. We want to know you. And so I'm going to say it. The sexual offences registry should be made public. Notwithstanding the right to privacy, you forfeit that right when you got convicted. You see how they love talk about my 2 little drug conviction them, and all the way on 27 years and 30 years respectively passed, and they still a talk about it. Well, the same way I got say to Uno, if you don't want to be on the sexual offences registry, just don't have sex. Then you won't be convicted. But I would say this. Those who find themselves in those positions, wear your shame and owe your shame, because we want to protect our children. We want to know when the pedophiles and the rapists are in our communities. We want to know. Not that we want to do anything, but we want to, at a minimum, be able to move, because we know you and your friend them well know we do. So me done so me I say have a blessed weekend and don't make Melissa do no malicious communications and shut down Starlink and Flow and Digicel and Telemundo and Univision. All right? Take it easy, my people. Be safe.
It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard, understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it. Take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. 'Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
'Cause everything's gonna be alright.